The Straits Times, 8 November 2023, the elephant in the room is still belligerent China, even as Bhutan and India reiterate their cordial relations. As part of its all-out war against the Indian subcontinent, China is attacking Bhutan and pressuring it to engage in negotiations. The unique ties of friendship and cooperation between Bhutan and India were reinforced by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi during their Monday night meeting with King Jigme Khesar Namgyel Wangchuck. Although the statement appeared to be standard diplomatic jargon between the two neighbors, observers pointed out its importance given China's attempts to take control of Bhutan. Situated between China and India, the tiny nation of 700,000 people in the Himalayas is the only one in South Asia without formal diplomatic links or Beijing's presence. However, this could soon change as reports suggest that Bhutan and China are getting close to settling differences over their shared borders to the west and north. China is also pushing for the creation of formal diplomatic links. India sees South Asia as its sphere of influence. Still, it has had to deal with China's growing power there, which it has established through commercial ties, debt traps, financial assistance, and diplomacy. China continues to have sway over Pakistan and Sri Lanka and has been gaining ground in Bangladesh despite accusations that it is forcing countries into debt traps. Beijing recently received a boost in the Maldives when a regime perceived as sympathetic to China came to power. In the long run, India will have to fight China in a war, so India should support smaller nations against Chinese hegemony. As a visiting research professor at the Institute of South Asian Studies, Professor C. Rajamohan stated that India could not automatically exercise its veto power over all its neighbors. The main worry is that India's security is not harmed by what its neighbors do. We also engage in additional activities with them. Bhutanese Foreign Affairs and External Trade Minister Tandi Dorji visited China on October 24 and 25 for the 25th round of boundary talks, just 2 weeks before the Bhutan king visited India. This made Dorji the nation's first foreign minister to visit China. Both parties agreed upon it during the visit to expedite border talks. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi informed Dr. Dorji that forging diplomatic relations between the two countries would be beneficial to both in the long run, according to the state-owned news agency Xinhua. The pace of boundary talks between China and Bhutan, which commenced in 1984, has increased recently. In a March interview with The Hindu, Bhutan's Prime Minister, Lotay Tshering, stated that a settlement to the border dispute is close and that his country aspires to be able to draw a line called the China-Bhutan borderline. He added that Bhutan couldn't continue to be cut off from China. India's main concerns are whether land swaps will be part of a final border agreement, especially in Doklam. This region is near the Siliguri corridor and is disputed by China and Bhutan. The slender Siliguri strip of land, also known as the Chicken's Neck, links northeastern India with the rest of the country. China might get closer to this delicate region with any land swap. India and China have long-standing border disputes, and there is no way to ease tensions along the 3,440 kilometers long, primarily undelineated frontier. India became embroiled in the Doklam border conflict between China and Bhutan in 2017. Chinese and Indian forces engaged in combat on the disputed plateau before agreeing to leave after just 73 days. The incident made Bhutan anxious about being torn between its two powerful neighbors, something experts say it desperately wants to avoid. As the China-India rivalry becomes more intense, Bhutan may also be looking to resolve its border disputes with China before the two countries' conflict worsens, according to Professor Harsh V. Pant, Vice President for Studies and Foreign Policy at the Observer Research Foundation, a think tank located in New Delhi. He continued, given that it has a special relationship with India, Bhutan will have to manage India's red lines. A friendship treaty in 1949 gave India control over Bhutan's foreign policy and armament acquisitions. Even if that clause was removed in 2007, India still holds the most sway in Bhutan. Since their economies are so intertwined, Bhutan permits the unfettered use of the Indian rupee. India also purchases electricity from Bhutan through 4 hydroelectric projects that it assisted in financing and developing. Additionally, the two nations want to strengthen their commercial and economic ties. According to a joint statement, Mr. Modi and the strong and adored King of Bhutan discussed the entire gamut of bilateral cooperation and regional and global issues on Monday night. Along with these topics, there were talks on developing the first train link between the two nations, establishing a connection between Bhutan and the Indian state of Assam. investigating the possibility of establishing a second rail link with the Indian state of West Bengal and promoting trade between Bhutan and Bangladesh. Additionally, there is a belief in India that China wishes to maintain their unresolved border dispute to exert pressure on India, which has been strengthening its ties with the U.S. China wants the territorial conflicts it has with Bhutan to be resolved. However, it hasn't pressed for a resolution with India, according to Jawaharlal Nehru University professor Shrikant Kondapalli.